Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hidden Korea. Today, we're diving into a story that has shaken the entertainment world to its core, an unexpected revelation that no one, not even the closest insiders, saw coming. For the first time, Yu Long's father has stepped forward to reveal a hidden bombshell about Yang Mei Mei. And the truth he's finally chosen to expose is nothing short of explosive. What was kept in the shadows? Why is it being revealed now? And how will this change everything? Stay with us, because we're uncovering the truth, right now. For years, the relationship between Yu Long and Yang Mei Mei had been the silent obsession of millions across Asia. Their chemistry on screen was undeniable. Their public interactions warm yet carefully measured. Their rare glimpses of closeness felt like breadcrumbs leading fans into a labyrinth of curiosity. Rumors swirled endlessly. Were they dating? Or were they simply masterful performers with impeccable timing? No one could say for sure. And both stars maintained a veil of professionalism too perfect to penetrate. But everything changed on a quiet evening that would soon become the most explosive night the industry had seen in a decade. The first sign of something unusual came when reporters waiting outside a Beijing studio saw an unexpected figure slip out of a black car. Yu Long's father, Yu Jianlin, known for staying clear of the entertainment world, a man whose stern, disciplined presence had shaped Yu Long's entire upbringing, who had never once stepped into the spotlight. His sudden appearance, wearing an expression carved from steel intention, sent shockwaves through the crowd. Cameras snapped instantly. Questions fired like bullets. Ignored them all, heading straight into the building with a pace that suggested urgency, even danger. Inside, Yu Long was filming a late-night variety show appearance, unaware that his world was about to be torn open. In another corner of Beijing, Yang Mei Mei sat in her makeup room preparing for a live stream. She glanced at her phone, noticing the sudden spike in messages, but dismissed them as typical production chatter. She had no idea what storm was about to draw her name into its collar. She smiled politely at the staff, unaware that the truth sealed behind her calm facade was about to shatter, under the weight of a revelation she never thought would surface again. Back at the studio, as the final scene wrapped, Jianlin's voice echoed through the hallway, loud, sharp, commanding. "Where is my son?" The staff froze. Assistants exchanged confused glances. The air thickened with tension as they guided him toward a private conference room. When Yu Long entered minutes later, wiping sweat from his forehead and still in costume, he stopped cold at the sight of his father pacing the room with clenched fists. "Dad? What happened?" His father turned, and for the first time in years, Yu Long saw an expression he couldn't decipher: fear, anger, betrayal, and something even more complicated woven between them. "I cannot let this continue," Yu Jianlin said, his voice trembling despite its firmness. "You need to know the truth about Yang Mei Mei. Tonight." Yu Long's heart dropped. What truth? Father didn't answer right away. Instead, he placed a thick folder on the table with shaking hands. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. Meanwhile, across the city, something strange happened. As Yang Mei Mei prepared to go live, her staff members, someone she had trusted for years, received a call that made her face drain of color. She whispered something to the manager, and suddenly the atmosphere in the room shifted. "Mei Mei, something is happening. There's news spreading about Yu Long's father. It's related to you." Yang Mei Mei froze mid-breath. A cold sensation crawled up her spine. She reached for her phone, scrolling faster and faster as short, frantic messages flashed across her screen. "He's exposing something. He went to find Yu Long himself. This could ruin you both." Her hands trembled. She swallowed hard, but she said nothing. Back in the studio, Yu Long sat across from his father, trying to understand. "Dad, what is this?" Yu Jianlin closed his eyes for a moment, as though summoning the strength to do something he had long avoided. "Everything inside that folder," he said quietly, "is about Yang Mei Mei's past. The part she never told you. The part she hoped you would never discover." Yu Long stared at the folder, his chest tightening with dread. He shook his head slowly. "Dad, I don't care about her past." His father replied sharply. "Because this past doesn't just involve her. It involves us. Our family." The room went still. The kind of stillness that precedes catastrophe. Yu Long opened the folder, and what he saw inside made his hands go numb. Documents. Letters. Witness statements. Old photographs. Records from 10 years ago, records that should have been buried permanently. Records that tied Yang Mei Mei to something far more shocking than any rumor the media had ever fabricated. Truth was not a simple secret. It was a weapon. A time bomb. A truth that could destroy reputations, families, and everything Yulong had built. Father's voice cracked as he whispered the sentence that would echo across Asia before sunrise. She knew you before you ever became famous. She knew me before you were even born. And she lied about everything. Yulong's breath hitched. A chill spread through his spine. That's impossible. Look at the dates, his father said. Look at the signatures. Look at what she was part of. Long did. And with each passing second, the world he knew began to crumble. In her makeup room, Yang Mei Mei stood frozen in front of her mirror, staring at her own reflection as if seeing a ghost. She knew. Deep down. She had always known this day would come. She had spent years building walls around the truth. Fully curating her life. Burying the past so deeply it felt like another lifetime. But a past ignored is a past that returns twice as violently. Her manager approached her, voice trembling. Hey, what did you hide from him? She closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek. Everything. Meanwhile, Yulong sat in silence as his father continued. Do you understand now? Yu Jianlin whispered. She wasn't who she claimed to be. She never was. Yulong felt a pressure in his chest. Up and suffocating. His voice broke. What did she want from us? From me. His father hesitated. Then answered with a weight that crushed the room. She wanted to rewrite her past. She used you to do it. The lights above flickered. Yulong's breath trembled. Outside, storms began to gather over Beijing. But in that moment, no weather could rival the storm exploding in his heart. Because the truth he had just learned was not only shocking, it was unforgivable. And this was only the beginning. The storm outside intensified as if the sky itself sensed the chaos unfolding behind closed doors. Thunder cracked through the Beijing night, rattling windows and vibrating through the dimly lit conference room where Yulong sat frozen, staring at the documents that threatened to tear apart everything he believed about Yang Mei Mei, and about himself. His father paced back and forth, weight of years pressing on his shoulders. Son, he said, voice trembling despite its firmness. I tried to protect you. I tried to protect our family. But the truth always finds a way to rise. Yulong's fingers shook as he lifted a faded photograph. In it, a much younger Yang Mei Mei stood in front of an old building with a group of people whose names were now highlighted in red ink. People connected to scandals buried long ago. Scandals involving manipulation, exploitation, and secret dealings that once threatened the careers of several powerful figures, including Yu Jianlin himself. You knew her back then, Yulong whispered, voice hoarse. His father stopped pacing. Yes. She was there. I didn't recognize her at first when you two became co-stars. She had changed her name, changed her face, changed everything. I thought she disappeared forever. But then, his voice faltered. Then she got close to you. Yulong's breathing quickened. So you think she did it on purpose? That she targeted me? Don't know, his father admitted. But I know she hid the past. And anyone who hides something that dangerous cannot be trusted. Meanwhile, across the city, Yang Mei Mei stood alone in her dressing room, her entire body trembling. She glanced at her phone, dozens of missed calls from Yulong, from reporters, from unknown numbers. Her manager knocked on the door again. Mei Mei, the story is spreading. Someone leaked that his father confronted him. Are digging. This won't stay hidden. She sank into her chair, hands covering her face. I never wanted to hurt him, she whispered. But I knew, if he found out who I used to be, he would look at me differently. Then tell him the truth. Manager urged. Before someone else twists it. Yang Mei Mei hesitated, then finally nodded with a trembling breath. Back at the studio, the door burst open. One of Yulong's assistants rushed in, panic written across her face. Sir, the press is already outside. Someone leaked everything. They know you and your father are here. Yulong shot to his feet, fury and confusion burning through him. Who leaked it? His father's jaw tightened. The same people who tried to use her before. They want chaos. They want to see you break. A sudden knock echoed through the hallway. Firm. Urgent. Security opened the door, and standing there, from the storm, hair dripping, breath shaking, was Yang Mei Mei. Yu Long froze. His father's eyes hardened instantly. She stepped into the room slowly, as if entering a battlefield. Rainwater slid down her cheeks, mixing with tears she didn't bother to hide. Yu Long, she whispered. Please, let me explain. Yu Jianlin moved in front of his son. You have no right to be here. Dad, move, Yu Long said, voice low and sharp. Father hesitated, then stepped aside reluctantly. Mei Mei's eyes locked with Yu Long's. She reached for the folder on the table, hands trembling. Never meant for this to happen. I didn't come into your life to deceive you. Did, Yu Long snapped, her twisting in his voice like a knife. Young, she cried. I was dragged into that world. I did things I'm not proud of. I changed my name to escape them. I changed everything to survive. But the day I met you, her voice broke. That was the first time I ever wanted to stop running. Yu Long clenched his fists. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was afraid you'd see me the same way everyone in that folder did. A mistake. A liability. Someone not worth saving. The room fell silent. Words, raw and trembling, cut far deeper than any document could. Even Yu Jianlin stiffened. But the truth they're telling, she continued, voice shaking, is twisted. I wasn't there to hurt anyone. I was forced into it. I was a nobody they used as a shield. And when it all collapsed, I escaped with nothing but the fear that one day, it would find me again. And now it has, Yu Long said softly. She nodded. Tears streamed down her face. Yes. Because I fell in love with the one person who had the power to destroy me without ever meaning to. His breath caught. The weight of her confession shook him to the core. Before he could respond, his father slammed a hand on the table. That doesn't change the fact that you hid the truth, he said coldly. How can you expect my son to trust you? Yang Mei Mei turned to him, wiping her tears. Because I'm here now. Facing him. Facing you. Facing everything I ran from. I'm not hiding anymore. She took a step toward Yu Long. If you want me to walk away, I will. If you hate me, I won't blame you. But don't believe their version of my past. Believe me. She roared again, shaking the building. Yu Long stared at her, heartbeat thundering in his ears. He saw fear. He saw pain. He saw truth, but truth wrapped in scars so deep even he hadn't known to look for them. His father stepped closer. She's dangerous. Yang Mei Mei flinched. Did not back away. Yu Long closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them, something in him had changed, hardened, sharpened, ignited. He reached for her hand. Father's eyes widened in horror. Yu Long. She came here alone. Yu Long said quietly. She faced something she could have run from again. That tells me everything. Mei Mei's breath caught in her throat. But, he continued, voice low and steady. I need the truth. All of it. Not the past they wrote. Not the version you hid. The real one. He nodded slowly. I'll tell you everything. She turned to the window, where the storm raged outside like a mirror of the chaos around them. Once you hear it, she whispered, you may never look at me the same way again. Yu Long stepped beside her. Let me decide that. Yet none of them knew. The same moment, outside the studio, a reporter clicked upload on a file titled, Yang Mei Mei, The Secret Past Revealed. And the entire world was seconds away from learning the truth. Before she had the chance to say it herself. Storm finally settled and the truth prepared to sweep across every corner of the internet. One thing became clear, no secret, no betrayal. No hidden past could silence the raw honesty that unfolded in the room. Whatever the world believed, whatever the headlines twisted, the only truth that mattered was the one that now stood between Yu Long and Yang Mei Mei, fragile, painful, but undeniably real. The story was no longer a fairy tale crafted by fans or a rumor controlled by strangers. It was a battle for understanding, a test of trust. The beginning of a chapter neither of them could avoid. The world was about to judge them. But for the first time, they were ready to face it, together or apart, with nothing left to hide. Thank you for joining us on this emotional and intense journey. Thank you for watching. For feeling every moment. Staying with us until the very end. Your support means more than words can express. And as always, thank you for being a part of Hidden Korea. tuned for more exclusive stories, deeper truths, and unforgettable moments. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay with us.